Hey you guys, we are so excited that you are joining us. I'm Mackenzie and this is Celeste, and we get the honor and privilege of talking to you about a program that is near and dear to our hearts, to Mission Messiah as a whole, and to a lot of you guys that have either come with us or that sponsor a child through us. And so we are going to be talking about our Empukani school and our Sponsor a Child program. As a lot of you may know, we have about 400 kids in our Empukani primary school that range from age 4 to 16. So we get them for a lot of their development and a lot of their life. And a lot of you that have come with us have seen these kids from the age of 6 all the way to in their teens now. So it's a really cool relationship that we get to form with these students, and it's an honor to be able to watch them grow up like we get to do. And so within our school, we have been involved for a while now, and we have seen some needs that have come up, and it has been our goal to meet those needs, not only to provide for these students, but to show them that they are chosen and loved and valued, and to help them learn more about Jesus. So Celeste is going to talk to us a little bit about the needs that we've seen throughout the years.
Yes, you can imagine out in the middle of the bush, there's a lot of needs. We are in the position that we are providing food. Often it's the only meal that they get every single day. We provide uniforms for them, and I don't know about you, but like my kids wear school uniforms, and when they get home, it's like the first thing they rip off. A lot of times their school uniform is their outfit. Like that's what they wear every single day. That's what they sleep in. And you can imagine being where they are, they get worn out really quickly. We provide them with shoes. And again, they get beat up really quickly, and that's a huge need. And supplies for school and things like that really help them to thrive in the situation that they're in. So it's really neat to be able to do that.
Yeah. Our entire heart behind our Sponsor a Child program from when we launched it was to provide the needs for these children physically, but also spiritually. Within our Empukani primary school, they have a Christian religion class where they get to learn about Jesus. And just this past October, because of a lot of you and your generous contributions, we got to hand out Bibles to these kids that are in their Maasai heart language. So now they get to go to that class and have that Bible in their own language, which is super cool for them to be able to have. And so our heart behind it all throughout this entire time has been that they come to know Jesus more, and that they are that they feel valued and chosen and loved, which is why we provide them uniforms and food and shoes and things that make them feel confident so that they can go to school. A lot of these kids, if they don't have food, they don't have enough energy to walk the miles and miles that it takes to get to school. So we've seen an increase in our student attendance just because of that. So it's been really, really cool. The biggest impact that I think that Celeste will agree with is the communication between us as Americans and as sponsors here to our students there in Empukani. It's been a really, really cool relationship that has been formed throughout the years.
Yeah, I mean, the relationships are amazing, especially for those of us that get to go once or twice a year and see the kids that are sponsored and be able to come and take pictures of sponsored kids, you know, getting their supplies and stuff, and be able to send it back to people here. It makes it really, really real for people. Because yes, they have that picture, but then I'm taking pictures with these sponsored kids that they're like, that's my child, you know? And I think one of the really neat things that happened on the last trip that I went on with one of our sponsored kids that Andrew and I sponsor is somebody came and knocked on the door where we sleep and came in and said, there's somebody here that wants to see you. And of course, you know, I walked outside and with a translator, found out that this was one of our sponsored children that Andrew and I sponsors, parents. And they brought me jewels, and they just wanted to thank me for changing the life of their child. And as parents, like so many of you are, you know, there's nothing more important than being able to thank the people that have changed your child's life. And that just really touched me personally. We have several kids that we're really close to, and my kids too, that when they go over there, they get to love on the kids. And it's just been a really, really huge blessing to have those personal relationships.
Yeah.
So it's really special.
Yeah. The entire theme of our sponsored child is chosen. And like I've just reiterated, these kids, we're not providing them because we feel like we need to provide them with things. It's to give them the confidence to know that they are loved. And because of that, their grades have skyrocketed, and they have just been, it's a transformed school than what it was when we first started to go there. And so we only have 101 kids left to be sponsored, 101. When we started, we had almost 400. And we truly believe that tonight we can get all of those kids sponsored.
Yeah, I think something we should add is just the impact that it's had. That our school originally had 200 kids,
Yeah.
and we've grown to 400. I think we're now like the #1 school in the region for testing. Is that right?
Yeah.
Which is pretty amazing
Yeah.
when you feed their bellies, how much they're able to focus and excel in school. Our grade 8 students are passing their exams, which is amazing. We were able to give, I think you mentioned, the 400 Bibles. And I was in awe at how the adults wanted the Bibles too. They're comic book Bibles in their heart language, and it's just really cool that they're being able to hear the stories, and that they're using the church for Friday night youth group.
Yeah.
When we showed up the last time we rolled into Empukani, it was on a Friday night. They did not know that we were going to be there, and the sounds coming out of that church from those students, I mean, it'll melt your heart to see the impact that that's having. And it started with this child sponsorship program.
Yeah, we're just a vessel that the Lord is using when we're not there. He's still moving and working in the lives of these students and these families.
So when we do Vacation Bible School with the Maasai children, at the end of the week, we all walk down to this little watering hole, and we gather around with all the kids. There's hundreds of us that walk down to baptize the kids who have accepted Christ and starting a new life in Jesus. And there's always, 50, 60, 70 kids to be baptized. And we sit down there and they line up and they start walking one by one in the water. And the last time I was there, there's a head of one of the young girls on my shoulder. And they're so affectionate anyway, so I was sitting there with her head on my shoulder. Her name is Charity. And I started hearing sniffling, and I looked down and just tears were coming out of her eyes. And I thought, oh goodness, what's wrong? And she couldn't talk, and one of her friends says, she's crying for you, in her little sweet accent. And I said, well, why? She said, because she loves you, she's gonna miss you. We talked about it last night before we went to bed. This is her last year at this school, and you've been coming for so long, and she's not going to see you. And she looked at me with her eyes, and she said, I'm going to miss you, Crystal. And I just realized, I think it all hit me. Just the little things that we do. It's only 10 days out of my life to go down there and to love on these kids, to sing with them. And everything that we do is making such a big impact with just the little things that we're doing. And so this work is very, very special. And so we just want to thank y'all so much for participating.
I've only been on the trip once, but for me, it was especially impactful just to be around all the kids there, being in the school and seeing what's going on there. Trying to recreate the sense of that is like trying to take a good picture of a sunset or a mountain range or a beach. One picture can't do it. You have to be there. And you really have to just be there to understand what is going on in these kids' lives, but also what the Lord is doing in that place. There is something intangibly special that God is using in that place, and I was just so honored to be a part of it, and to hear the kids singing in their tongue, but also singing in English too, and them teaching us their language. It was one of the most incredible experiences of my life, and I will never forget it.
as we have mentioned, we have 101 kids left to be sponsored in our Empukani primary school, and we would love if all of those kids would get sponsored tonight. We are praying and believing that all 101 of those kids will get sponsored tonight. So with your sponsorship, it is $30 a month, and what that provides is food every single day of school that the kids are in school. It's uniforms biannually, and they're actually getting uniforms this summer. It's shoes biannually, it's school supplies, it's fun things like backpacks and Bibles like we did in October. Every year it'll be something a little bit different, but basically we're just meeting the needs of these students. And so we would love if you would join us. Below you'll see a link for our website, and if you go to that link, you'll go to the page that has all of the 101 kids that are left. It'll have their names, their biographies, their birthdays, any fun information you want to know about them, and then at the bottom it'll say start sponsoring, and it'll have you fill out all that information where you can start sponsoring a child today. So we look forward to you joining our Empukani family, and we are so excited for what's in store.